Hill, uh, Florida. Cool.
Hello, guys. This is Ty, aka the Flip Man, with Darren out in Sacramento. Um, Glad everyone is on tonight to this Flippinar. We're going to go ahead and get started. So, if you have any issues hearing me, if I cut out, please let me know immediately. We had that issue on the last couple of Flippinars. So, I'm just going to work with these technical difficulties. Hopefully, we don't have any tonight. And so we'll go ahead and get started. Let me share my screen here. All right, we should be live here on the home page, Wholesaling Houses, no cash or credit.
Yes, sir.
Step by the topic for tonight, I like to try to keep it mixed up. You know, you never know what we're going to come with. Keeping it interesting for people to show up and learn something. Wholesaling lease options. Totally off the beaten path, but I like to share as many ways to make money in real estate as possible. This is one of them. I don't actually have a course on it, but I've done it, and I can teach my actual students to do this if they want. It's not my thing, and I'll share with you why it's not my personal thing, but because it's not my thing and doesn't fit my personality or my weaknesses as a businessman, as a person, it may fit perfectly for you. So wholesaling lease options is the topic for tonight on this Flippinar. Before we get into any of the information, get the legal stuff out of the way that attorneys recommend. You're not going to make $10,000 a month if you don't do anything. Most people understand that, but we have to say it. So we get that out of the way. Give you an incentive to stick around to the end of the Flippinar, as we've done for the last 2 weeks. We're going to give away 2 free courses. That's 2 free courses on wholesaling houses and apartments. Doesn't get any better than that. Now, it doesn't come with any coaching from me, but for most people, they just need the information and taking action. A coach is great, and it's an added bonus, but the information and action is more important, in my opinion, than the coaching. So, because with all the coaching or the knowledge in the world, if you're not taking action, it's all worthless. So stick around. You'll have an opportunity. We'll give one person that's on the phone, and we'll have a person that's actually online. We'll give away on both options. But you have to be live here on the actual Flippinar to take advantage of it. So free course at the end. Before we get into the lease options and the actual process, some of you are here every week, and some of you, this is your first time. So there's a process that we go through to get to the actual information. I like to build up to who I am and how I got started. Most people like to hear that because I'm just a regular Joe like anyone else out there that have done deals, that are trying to do deals, and whatever your situation is for not liking your job, no job, just want more income, or just want to add to what you're already doing, change your financial situation, whatever your motivation may be. This is an opportunity to do that if it has to do with finances, and some of it just flat out just freedom to be able to do a lot of things, or just having options that you would normally can't do because of the lack of income. So this is an opportunity here. Real estate is an opportunity. More fortunes have been built off real estate since the beginning of time than any other product or service. And then it's still no different, because at the end of the day, we have to have somewhere to live. That's shelter, and we have to have somewhere to house businesses. For people, for jobs, products and services that we may need. All right, but before we get in it, I want to share this opportunity with you. And it's really simple. It's a little bit more off the beaten path. You don't have to know anything about it. I'm just going to give you the Cliff Notes version of it. And this may fit you personally, but more so if you just know someone. This is more of a referral offer. This could be the easiest $10,000 that you could ever make by just simply referring someone you know that may fit the profile that I'm about to explain. So I'm going to start with just asking you a question. And this is not a trick question. All right, this building here, I'm assuming it's a 4 or 8 unit building, whatever it is. I'm just going to say it's an 8 unit building having apartments in the rear. And you see a picture of a house, assuming both of these are rental income. And that's what most people know when they first want to get into real estate. Either I'm going to buy properties, rent them out, and collect cash flow, or I'm going to buy properties and flip them to make a payday. Rental income, which is cash flow, is the true wealth way to wealth as far as real estate, because you have a property that's an appreciating asset and you actually receiving actual cash flow from the property on a monthly basis. So looking at these two properties here, this is the traditional way where most people understand. So assuming that this 8 unit building here, you're receiving cash flow from, you can be all 8, but normally you're not going to be filled all the time. So we'll just say 7 of them, which is still a high percentage. And then you see this house here. We can say you got 7 houses that you're collecting cash flow on. Not a bad rental portfolio for someone that could set someone up for retirement if they're all paid off and, making money or whatever, or even in your current situation. That could be a good amount of cash flow for you. So would you rather have cash flow coming from these type of properties or these type of properties? Would you like to be renting or leasing a property to Walgreens and Burger King, or leasing or renting your properties out to the guy that works down at Walgreens or Burger King? They're working there. They don't own it. They're working there. And they're renting one of your spaces here at either the houses that you own or this apartment building that you own. So do you know someone that would want this opportunity? And obviously, they're already in real estate and they may have a small or large portfolio and have the resources to get involved, which I'm not going to get too detailed into it because it can be a little complicated as far as the financing part of it. But for you, only thing you're doing is just referring the person to us. Obviously, you may want to brief them. You want to brief them on the possibility and explain it to them. You'll have an opportunity to show them this video on YouTube. But income from these two types of properties, 8 unit building or 8 houses like this one, or you're collecting rent from a Walgreens or Burger King. And let me show you the actual differences in those. All right, from a traditional cash flow coming from those houses, you'll have multiple tenants, which means you got to have multiple people paying you. So one person may lose their job, they don't pay you anymore. Or they got divorced, they don't pay you anymore. It could be any number of reasons they stop paying you. You pay the taxes on the property. You pay the insurance on the property. You pay for maintenance, and you have to handle evictions and then obviously get the property ready again to rent out. All right. As a triple net investment, when you have a Walgreens or a Burger King leasing from you, you have one tenant. Guess what? Walgreens and Burger King will pay the taxes. Walgreens and Burger King will pay the insurance. They will pay for maintenance on the building, and then you have no evictions. Why? It's a corporate guarantee. The only way that you will have an eviction there is that either Walgreens or Burger King go out of business totally. The entire company has to go out of business. Guess what? That location, that Walgreens or Burger King may close down, but they still have to pay you out on the lease. It may be an initial 15-year lease, and they only have 5 years left, and they say they don't want to operate there anymore because of slow sales. Guess what? They still have to pay you those additional 5 years of rental payment. That's another 60 months of payments. So if you know someone that you think that wants to transition into something, they can use their 401k, an IRA. There are a lot of forms of resources that are available. Obviously, they may have the credit or they may have the cash reserves to do it. but it's an opportunity for you just from someone that you already may know, doing business with. It may be you that fits that criteria, but it's an opportunity for us to share with you an opportunity that most people are either afraid of or just flat out don't even know it exists. And it's called triple net cash flow opportunities. And triple net simply means that the tenant will pay the taxes, the insurance, and the maintenance. So there's no management for you. They call it mailbox money. You sit back, that person, the investor, sits back and collect a check. Versus if you own a property the traditional way, a house or multifamily, you have to pay the taxes, you have to pay the insurance, you pay for the maintenance, evictions, you may even pay a property management company, and you have to deal with multiple tenants. So just wanted to share that with you, and I'll bring this back up at the end of the Flippinar. So let's get into it. My goal here tonight, whether you know a lot about real estate or you don't know anything about real estate, but my goal here tonight is to inform you what is wholesaling. All right. My definition of wholesaling is locating a piece of real estate, in this situation, houses, negotiating a deal with the actual owner of the property, the seller, placing that property under contract at a really, really attractive price, and advertising the property. Cash buyer steps up, say they want to pay you at a higher price. You contract at a higher price than the contract you have with the seller, and you close on it, and you get paid via an assignment fee or a double close. I prefer assignment fees. So again, a simple scenario is that you locate the property, negotiate a great deal, place it under contract with the seller, find a cash buyer, place it under contract with the buyer at a higher price. You close the deal, you get paid via an assignment fee or double close. Simple example would be house that you get under contract for $30,000 that would be worth $100,000 fixed up. You advertise it at $45,000. An cash investor says that, hey, they'll pay $38,000 for the property and close within 7 to 10 days, or as soon as you can get a clear title. You get the difference between contract A, which is $30,000, and contract B, which is $38,000. Your check that you walk away with is $8,000. So you ask yourself, is this something that I should be doing? Well, my student in Memphis, here's an example, which I have an actual video on this on YouTube. Just do a YouTube search for turn $10 into $6,444, and that video should pop up. But basically, his return on investment, his ROI, he invested a $10 earnest money check by posting ads on Craigslist, which he did something I've never done. I've never had any success with Craigslist, but he did. So, again, wow, I was amazed. I'll just say that. But he gave them a $10 earnest money deposit, just a cash $10, and he wholesaled the property and made $6,444.40. His actual return on investment was 64,344%. Wow, what a whopping amount of money if you just base it on return on investment. $6,444 not going to change your life forever by no means, but it's an ends to a means that if you do these on a consistent basis, yes, it will change your financial situation and change it quickly. Right? Who am I? Well, I'm an entrepreneur first, and real estate is the first way I've ever made any considerable amount of money. Like many of you all, I've tried a lot of different things. Got the entrepreneur bug when I was in college. Don't even know why or how. I'm not one of those stories where I was selling lemonade when I was 12 years old. All I wanted to do back then was play basketball and chase girls. So back then had no ambitions about going into business myself. Just was a country boy walking barefooted on dirt roads, in the southern part of Alabama. So, but after I got into college, again, I don't even know where it came from. But early on, I knew I was only going to finish college to put a smile on my mom's face. But I knew that at some point I wanted to own my own business. But in the meantime, I had to work a job to support myself, to make sure that I could eat and pay my bills and have shelter. But I tried many things. Even in college, I had the great idea that I was going to use my student loan and buy used cars at car auctions, dealer auctions, and sell them. What I didn't know is that you really need to be mechanically inclined to succeed at that. Got my hat handed to me. Those cars can look brand new. They can be 15 years old and look brand new, but be a flat out piece of junk. So that didn't work. Got the great idea after going to Daytona Beach back in 1995, I think it was, just before I graduated college. One of my brother's friends has a mobile car wash in Orlando, Florida, and he was making six figures doing that. So when I got back to Birmingham, I had enough money to buy an old used van. I think I paid less than $1,000 for it. It was baby blue, old passenger van with no seats in it. Bought a 50, I think it was a 100-gallon water tank, and bought a pressure washer. And I started washing cars, just showing up at hair salons, places of business, and washing cars. It really went well until it got cold. You know, even here in Birmingham, Alabama, it does get too cold to be around water spraying in your face on a day-to-day basis. So I figured I can't do that, you know, so I gave up on that. So I tried a lot of network marketing opportunities, and they work, I'm sure, but not for me. Doesn't fit my personality because I'm not that outgoing. I'm not that much of a networker. I know it may seem that I am, but I'm really not. I do what it takes to survive. So if that's talking to people to do that, then I'll do that. But that's definitely not anything I really enjoy. So with network marketing, I wasn't a great networker. And so fast forward, and just before I got interested in real estate, I was in prepaid legal, which is, I think it's called Legal Shield now. And one of my friends back in October 2002, he and his now wife were going to school to become realtors. And the guy that normally taught the class wasn't there. The substitute that replaced him that night, he didn't talk about being a realtor. He talked about investing in real estate and creative ways of investing in real estate with no money down techniques. And so my friend told me about it because, you know, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. He told me about some of the things he was saying, but I didn't know anything about real estate. So it was interesting, but I still didn't follow up on it. So fast forward a couple of months later, a couple of days after Christmas, I was at my mom's house, and I was up early that morning waiting on her to prepare breakfast. And I saw one of Carlton Sheets' infomercials with his no money down technique, you know, which the infomercial didn't tell you anything. It just a lot of testimonies on I made this much money, I made this much money, but it wasn't telling you anything, you know, as many of you and I was at that time. And now, how did you make the money? Yeah, okay, I believe you made the money, but how did you make the money? And so, long story short, I watched the complete infomercial. I watched half of one, and then I found it later on and watched the full one. So at that time, my mom didn't have internet at her house, so I waited till I got back to Birmingham, and I went to this entrepreneur online message board, ablake.net, and asked the question, does Carlton Sheets program really work? And one person replied, yes, it does, but Ron LeGrand's course is better. So I did a search for Ron's course. At that time, it was around $1,500, which was a lot of money then and now in reality. But definitely was a lot of money back then. And I didn't have that money. So what they had was on the site was a condensed version of, I guess, a teaser for $69.99 with shipping. It was $80. So I ordered that. And all that did is let me know, hey, if I have to get a second job to come up with this money, I will do it. So a couple of days later, I thought about eBay and did a search for his name. And there was an auction on his name. On his product, the same product that was on his website. And so I bid it on the auction and lost. Back then, I guess it was okay to do it, or people were doing it. But the guy emailed me, and the person that was running the auction, and asked me would I want a burnt version of the copy, a CD copy of the courses. And so we agreed on $400. And so I sent the guy the $400. He shipped the package to me. Man, it was like Christmas. So it took me 3 weeks to go through all the information, because it was more than wholesaling. It was wholesaling houses, retailing houses, which is just buy, fix, and flip, lease options, subject to, for sale by owner. It was just information overload, but really good information. And that information was seven it was 7 years. It was seven. I'm sorry, that was in 2003, and I think those courses were from 1997. And so, but anyway, so I went through the information again, and out of all the information, I was on information overload. If I didn't get anything out the information, I understood that wholesaling attracted me the most. Lease option was second. But if I didn't get anything out of it, and what attracted me was because of my personality, is that I needed to get my phone ringing. And so, and bandit signs was mentioned in the course quite a bit. So I ordered some bandit signs. I overpaid for them. I've spent $250 for 50 signs, but I didn't know any better. I just didn't know any better. You can get almost 250 signs for that much. So I got my signs. I put them out on a Sunday, and the first 2 calls that I received were deals. One second, guys. Yeah, the first 2 calls that I received were deals. And so one of them was a lease option opportunity. The other one was for sale. A wholesale opportunity. Long story short, the lease option opportunity, the lady gave me $5,000 sitting in an old Charlie's on Center Point Parkway. People from Birmingham know what I'm talking about. And it was unbelievable, that she did that. We just placed an ad on the property, whatever. She liked what she saw. Property really needed a few repairs. Long story short, the deal blew up in my face because the owner wanted part of my down payment, which I probably would have given it to him, but he just clowned so bad on the actual tenant buyer. And so the lady called me crying, and I ended up giving her money back. The second call, which were 2 sisters who had a property that they inherited from their mother. Like a lot of people, when their parents died, we're not going to say a mom's house. We spent a lot of time here, so they rented it out to relatives, and of course that went bad because a lot of times relatives they're going to be the worst people to rent to, because they feel like, hey, Johnny doesn't need the money now. They got plenty of money. I'll pay him on the 15th or the 20th when I get paid again. So they'll try to manage your pocketbook. So anyway, that went bad for them. So they were motivated to sell. They were tired of being landlords. So I showed up at the lady's house in a 1985 Toyota Celica convertible, not knowing really what I was doing. And we agreed on $20,000. Wasn't sure that was a deal or not, but it was. Advertised it. Got a realtor call me, say he had a buyer for me that would pay $25,000 for it. The realtor said in order for him to refer his client, he would need for me. I explained to him my position. He wanted half of my assignment fee, which was $2,500. I agreed to that. So met these guys in a parking lot. They were in flip flops, tank tops, and they were headed to the gym. Gave me a $500 earnest money deposit. A week or so later, we closed at their attorney's office. I picked up a check for $2,500. I could have quit then because I had failed at so many things before that you just don't understand. Maybe you do. That $2,500 could have been, it might as well have been $250,000 because all the things I had tried before. So anyway, that was my first actual deal. So the next 12 months, did 10 deals or so. Was really good. It just was unbelievable. I still was working. So from January of 2003, when I first learned about it, I picked up my first actual assignment fee check March 5th of 2003. I quit my job, dropped the mic on May 1st, 2006. As I said, I had failed at a lot of business before. I'm no smarter than you all guys. Town I'm from, less than 1,000 people. I think I checked it the other day, 584 people. I obviously live in a much larger town now, but just talking about where I grew up, just Bama born and raised. But like many of you all, you probably are going about it the hard way. But you can cheat and get it the easy way. Thinking you need tons of money to start, wasting time thinking I need to have a real estate license, waiting until I had everything figured out, wasting tons of times on vague books that only upsell you, obviously working a job that you're not happy with, taking pointless business classes, which I have a minor in business administration. Boy, has that paid off for me. Going to seminars that just minimum content, vague content, not hating on them, but it is what it is. And just information overloaded sometimes. Some people have bought multiple courses and just still don't know what direction to take. So tonight here, I'm going to share with you an opportunity to remove some of that anxiety and what to do. I'm going to give you another technique on how you can actually make money. But before I get into that, I want to just remind you of the 2 free courses that are going to be given away at the end of the webinar. At the end of the Flippinar. So just make sure you stick around. All right. Wholesaling lease options. Wow. So you're wholesaling houses, and that's where you place it under contract, find a cash buyer, and boom. But you can also do the same with wholesaling with lease options. In most cases, and I'll explain what lease options are. We'll start here first, but I'll explain what lease options are. Okay. A couple of ways to go about it. We're going to talk about wholesaling, but I'm going to go about it the way most people handle it. Is that now you can lease option any type of property. It can be ugly or pretty. And the way I was taught, you just only do pretty houses, but in reality, you can do both, pretty or ugly. But we just, for the sake of explaining, we're just going to say pretty houses. So when you're doing pretty houses, you're going to be targeting, in most cases, families that want to actually live in the house, but for whatever reason, they don't have the credit to purchase the house, but they have a cash down payment, a significant cash down payment to start making payments on the property or making lease payments on the property, with the end result of them at some point within a 1 to 2 year time frame of actually getting financing for the property and cashing the actual owner of the property out. All right, so you'll actually get more of these opportunities coming your way than actual deals that you can wholesale the traditional way. Because in most cases, there are 2 things that are going on when a seller calls you. Either they're going to owe too much, which it won't make sense for you as a wholesale deal, or they owe, or they just want too much as far as the price, which those obviously will coincide in a lot of cases, because most people are not going to bring money to the closing table to make up the difference on the price that you need and what they owe as a mortgage balance. Just as an example, a house may be worth $100,000 and the seller owes $90,000. But to make the deal work for you, you need it at $45,000. They're not going to bring $45,000, which would total to $90,000. If you add 45, what you need, 45, what's owed, to equal to 90 that's owed to the bank. They're not going to bring that to the closing table to satisfy you. or even if it was $5,000, they're not going to bring it to the closing table. I've never had it happen. I'm sure it's happened out there before, but that's not how it works. Normally, what happens is if the number that you need is 45,000, the seller may owe 20,000, and so instead of them walking away with 45,000, they'll walk away with 25,000, which is the difference between 45,000 and $20,000 that's owed. That's normally how it works. So fast forward with a lease option, they may owe the $90,000 and it's worth $100,000, so there's only a $10,000 spread there. But they're so motivated, and they may have two houses. They may have moved out of that house with the thought of either selling it, and they were renting it, and it didn't work out for them, but they're ready to sell, but they need to sell because they can't afford to continue to make two payments on the house that they're living in and that additional house. So even though the opportunity may not work for you as a traditional wholesale deal where you just need a cash buyer because the numbers don't work, but it may work in the sense that if you take over the payments with a lease option, the deal works for you. Okay, so just as an example, we say you say they owe $90,000 and the monthly payment on the house is we'll just say $650. So what will happen is that you'll enter into agreement with a lease with an option to buy, and you'll turn around and lease the property out for, we'll say, $850. So there's a $200 cash flow spared there. You have the $650, you have a total of $850, but the $650 goes to the mortgage company directly. You'll make your check to the mortgage company. You keep the $200. On top of that, the tenant buyer that took over that lease, the tenant buyer will have given you, we'll say, $10,000 down as a down payment on the property, which goes into your pocket, or a lease option payment, however you want to term it, but that goes into your pocket. So, and you also will place a price on the property, but you may mark it up to 110 instead of the 100,000 that it's worth. You mark it up to 110. So whenever they get financing, they will, and the actual price on the house will be 110, but they gave you $10,000 down, so that leaves $100,000 owed. So whenever they get financing a year or 2 years from the date of the lease, when the lease started, the $90,000 will be paid off, and you get the difference between the $90,000 and the $10,000. So there are a couple of ways that you're going to make money there. You're going to make money from the initial down payment. You're going to make money from the $200 additional difference between the $650 owed to the bank and the $850 that you're charging the tenant buyer. All this goes into your pocket. And then if they ever actually get financing, you'll pick up another 10 grand from the difference between the $100,000 that's left over from the original contract and the $90,000 that's owed to the bank. We'll just say roughly. It may be a little less because payments were still being made in that time frame, but it probably won't be much less. But for the sake of this video and easy numbers, we'll say that. So that's a normal lease option. Okay. The problem with that can be now, that sounds all great to say, wow, why am I not doing lease options instead of wholesaling? Because people will give you that initial $10,000 and won't make one payment. That's unbelievable. It's happened to me on a couple of cases, and that's part of the reason I don't personally like doing those. But I'm gonna give you the flip side of it by wholesaling, where you don't have to worry about that. But I needed to go through the normal process for you to understand that. So if they don't make any payments, then depending on what state you're in, it may take 2 weeks to get them out. It may take 2 months to get them out, but you have to get them out. But in that time frame, the payments still have to be, that $650 still has to be paid on the house. On top of that, you're hoping that they don't tear up the house out of anger because you started sending them notices saying that they're going to be evicted, and they know they've given you 10 grand. And a lot of people feel like, hey, I gave you $10,000. I can stay here as long as I want to. People will really have that mindset, even though you explained and was very transparent on what needs to happen in order for them to continue to live there and to eventually own the property. It's just like that. People will give you that much money up front and won't make the first payment. It has happened to me. So that's the downside of it. So they won't pay. You got to get them evicted, and there's a possibility that they tear up the house. So if they tear up the house, that means who has to fix it, because you're obligated to the actual seller of the property, not to the tenant. So that 10,000 that you may have may be absorbed just in repairs to get it back ready. Now, what you can do, you can put it back out there and lease it again. So, but a lot of times people have, you got people with thicker skin than I do. Hey, they'll make it work, and they'll put it back out there again and get another 10 grand and put another family. But if it works out, you're talking about the 10 grand up front, the $200 cash flow, and the 10 grand on the back end. So there's an opportunity to make a considerable amount of money on that one deal if you have the management skills and the patience to do it. Okay. But what we want to talk about here is how you wholesale these opportunities. So I've explained the difference between a wholesale and just the normal traditional way, and I've explained what an actual lease option is. And so the actual pros of a lease option, that they're faster. Okay. They're faster. All right. Huge paydays, as I explained. Just using that example that we use, you got the 10 grand up front. You're getting the extra $200 a month in cash flow. So imagine if you had multiples of those. And then obviously the 10 grand on the back end. But if you're wholesaling it, you would just get the 10 grand up front, and you would explain to the seller that, hey, and you're going to be transparent as much as possible on lease option versus the wholesaling the traditional way, because it's not necessarily the traditional way. But with lease options, you need to be very transparent with them on the entire process of what's happening. When you're wholesaling a lease option, you're going to remove yourself. Instead of that $10,000 being a down payment, it's really just going to be an assignment fee from the tenant buyer that they're going to remove you out of the way. So what I mean by faster is that these opportunities are going to present themselves a lot faster. But on top of that, you don't really go through the entire closing process. I want to cover a few things that you still have to do to try to set yourself up correctly for the tenant buyer and put them in the best position so the deal don't go haywire on the seller end of it. You're going to have to make sure that the seller is current on the payments, and also there are no existing liens on the property. So that'll come from getting an authorization or release from the actual seller, so you can contact the mortgage company yourself. You'll fax that over or email that over to the mortgage company so you can have permission to discuss the account. As far as liens on the property, you will have to spend $300 or so, $300 maybe to $500, depending on where you are, for a title company to do a title search on the property to see if there are any existing liens there. Because if there are, then that can be a deal breaker depending on what the liens are, or if there are any back taxes. But normally if they have a mortgage on the property, the taxes are being paid in the mortgage payment in most cases. So keep that in mind. Now, so that was a sort of a con. I'll get into that, but it sort of just flowed the way I needed to explain it. Again, it's a huge payday, and you getting your money, you're out, because you're only just assigning the property over to the tenant, your initial contract over to the tenant buyer, and they will pay the owner of the property directly. Now, you'll put in place and make sure the owner and the tenant buyer understands that the check will be made out to the mortgage company, not the seller. Because the worst thing that you would want to have, even though you're out of the deal, the worst thing that you want to happen to the tenant buyer is that the seller is keeping the money and not making the payments to the actual mortgage company. You want to ensure that. You want to advise the tenant buyer that that's what needs to happen. You want to advise the seller that's what's going to happen. Okay? There's no closing cost. The only thing that I said, that if you're going to be proficient about it, you'll want to do a title search just to make sure what standing the property is in. But you can set up a closing if you want to and go through an attorney. And I guess that can be negotiated, paid out of your assignment fee, or you can make the actual tenant buyer pay it if you want to go through that process. I actually wouldn't. I would just handle all the paperwork. And again, the only thing that I would do as far as an expense is I would probably pay for the title search, and I probably would get the tenant buyer to actually do that also, to get them to pay that actual fee, and you explain to them why. All right, so again, it's a cash flow opportunity as I explained before when you explain how an actual lease option actually works. So let's go over some of the cons. I like to give the good and the bad of anything. All right, now is the screen still sharing? Okay, good. All right, you can have a bad seller. All of this can be explained. It can be in writing, and everything going the way it should be. And I can only just tell you because this was my first actual deal that went bad. And the seller gets into some type of financial trouble, and liens get attached to the property. Whether you're in the deal or you're not in the deal, there's nothing you can do about that. But you should have been long gone anyway. But just because you're long gone doesn't mean a tenant buyer won't contact you back saying, hey, you didn't tell me this. But that's part of your job and part of the language in your agreement that you're excluded from this transaction totally through your assignment. It's out of no matter what happens after that. Again, even though this may be explained or this may be in writing, it can still come up and be a problem for you later. You can be sued for anything. Doesn't mean they're going to win, but you're still going to probably have to spend money to get yourself represented correctly. So again, I like to get the good and the bad on everything. All right. Now, as I said, unforeseen liens. They may not have started out with any liens, but it may end up with some liens because the situation has turned worse than when you initially got the property. So those are the actual cons that could possibly happen whenever you're wholesaling a lease option. As I said, obviously, there's an opportunity to make a great deal of money with it, whether either you're wholesaling it or you're actually holding on to it. There's an opportunity to make a great deal of money. And this is just another technique to make money in real estate. Don't use your money to make, don't use your money, use techniques to make money. I didn't come up with that myself. I heard it from someone else. Don't use your money, use techniques to make money when we're talking about real estate. All right. So that's the wholesaler's mentality. That's the wholesaler's mentality again. All right. Now, so again, you know, a lot of people, if you have I was listening to this guy, and I still try to educate myself, guys. And he was saying a guy said that you need to cut up your credit cards and all this. They said this guy's crazy, you know, because he believes in leverage. The guy takes, you know, any leverage that he has for his credit or whatever to leverage to make more money, because you still, no matter what, you still have to manage it. Because if you make the money that you're intended to make, you pay your credit cards off a boom. But the point I'm making is that you're using techniques to get into larger deals to make more money, or you're using your resources, your knowledge to make money. So to go to the next phase of the Flippinar, most of you are here because you're tired of what you're doing in your 9 to 5. All right. So in order to resolve that, normally that comes from financial independence. And simply put, how to make a full-time income and replace your BS job you hate. I was terrified when I quit mine. The answer is 3 to 5 deals per month. So what we want to do here, we want to get into some actual bare numbers on how to actually do just that. And we just want to get into some numbers and what they mean. So in most cases, just from my experience, and this may be a better number for others, if you want to do 3 to 5 deals per month, you need to probably be talking to that many people per day. Now, if you add lease options into that number goes down, that you need to be talking, because you're taking advantage of some opportunities that may not fit a traditional wholesale. So that's, you know, so you got to take that number will go down. You'll talk to less people to get to an actual deal if you're going to do lease options. All right. So I think of myself more of a marketer than a wholesaler as for that part of real estate, because I spend a lot of time on just my brain in it than just actions on how I can market myself more effectively to keep my phone ringing and ringing more. So if you want to do 3 to 5 deals per month, you need to be talking to 3 to 5 people per day. This is not sellers. I mean, this is not brain surgery. I don't wave a magic wand or anything. If I'm not talking to sellers, I'm not going to do deals. It's really that simple, people. No, that is no different from me. If I'm not doing what I need to do, I won't do deals. It's no different. So let's look at this. If you do 1 deal per month and you average $5,000 to $7,000 per deal, and that'll vary from market to market, but that's going to probably be like the bare minimum. And you do 12 of those in a year, that's $60,000 to $84,000 a year. For most people, that changes their financial situation drastically. For some, it's just a drop in the bucket. But I'm going to assume for most people, that changes their financial situation drastically. Let's do 2 deals per month, $5,000 to $7,000 average per deal. That's 24 deals in a year. That's $120,000 to $168,000 per year. That's 6 figures. For most people, again, that changes their financial situation drastically. Let's get a little more successful. That's 5 deals per month, $5,000 to $7,000 average per deal, 60 deals per year. That's $300,000 to $420,000 per year. They know your name at the bank. Hello, Mr. Taylor. How you doing? I'm doing good today. How are you? Wholesaling houses and apartments. 2 free courses will be given away at the end of the course. Again, if you want to do 3 to 5 deals per month, you are a marketer. You got to get your phone ringing. You can get this business can be very frustrating already, but it's really frustrating if you're looking for deals versus you going out and let deals find you through your marketing efforts. So again, you want to stick around for that. I want to mention you need proof of funds because you're targeting deals that are listed with realtors. Go to realpof.com. We have this this offer tonight on the people that don't win. We have this offer. I think the link is not working yet, so don't go there just yet. I'm going to try to fix that while we're taking the questions and answers. But we had a great offer last week. We're only going to do 3 people this week. I can only take on so much. So it's 3 easy payments of $247. You get wholesaling houses and apartments plus coaching. We split the first 5 deals 50-50. That's it. It doesn't get any easier than that. It was a better deal last week, but if you didn't get it, you missed it. So that's wholesaling houses and apartments plus coaching. That's 3 easy payments of $247, and we split the first deal. And I want to mention again, if you want to make it easy, 10 grand, just refer someone that you know that either is already in the rental business as far as multifamily or single family, and they want to get in the big boy world and start collecting rental payments, mailbox money from a Walgreens or a Burger King. Just contact me. You know my number, 205-492-3425. Darren probably will be reaching out to some of you all through the chat on it, but that's an opportunity that's there for the taking. If the person that you are think that may be interested, then you could simply just refer them to this, or they could contact me or Darren. Darren will probably talk to them more in detail because he understands the financing part of it more so than I do, or if they're going to use an existing investment that they have, such as a 401k or IRA. So it won't cost you anything. It's not going to cost them anything in a sense, but they're going to be able to capitalize on the opportunity that they were either afraid of or were not aware of. But we're going to remove those fears and give them an opportunity to get into the real world of cash flowing from a Burger King or Walgreens. Don't work in the business, work on your business. So we want to go ahead and get into the question and answer part of the segment. Darren, you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
All right, so I'm gonna remove my share screen here and try to correct this link. Okay, while they're asking the questions.
Okay, it's theflipman.com.
Yes, theflipman.com is where it's going to be here, but I need to just correct it first. But go ahead with your questions.
I went to it. It was working. It should be working.
Oh, it's working now?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think the pay link was working though. You
Okay. Well,
checked it?
go ahead. Go ahead and see. I asked the question.
All right.
All right. All right. Let's see. All right. Go ahead and start sending the questions. If you asked the question earlier, Dan pointed out that Flipman don't take him to the end, so just re-ask the questions, and I'll start hammering away the Flipman. So someone asked, how does the real POF work, Flipman?
Okay. Yes, working, Darren. Okay. The real POF, basically, whenever you're dealing with realtors, the only way that they're going to take you serious is that they're going to want proof of funds. And so, real POF, you get a copy, you get an editable copy of a proof of funds letter from the service that offers it, along with an actual bank statement that matches up to the letter. And the letter, the edible letter, will allow you to put in your name or your entity, your LLC or whatever, and that's what you'll include whenever you make your offers. And that just gets past the gatekeeper, which is the agent. Currently, the fee right now, well, I won't tell you, just go to the site because that may change. Just go there and you can see the yearly. It's just a one-time fee per year. And what happens, you get a login and access, and you can call and you can access it each month, and it's updated with the new letter and bank statement each month.
Okay, awesome. And you gonna have to hire Diana Prince. She's awesome. All right, Romeo Romeo. I have an opportunity. I have a vacant sports authority in my area. How can we partner up?
I'd have to know more. We'll have to know more information about it. So you'd have to just text me on that.
Okay. Margaret said I have a vacant depot store next door for lease. How does that work?
What is it called? What was it called?
A vacant depot store? I guess a department store.
Oh, again, you're talking about flipping vacant commercial building. That's a whole nother animal in itself. You can go to flipthisbuilding.com and you can check out the videos there. And there's enough information there that you can start doing your own research to figure that part out. But that's a whole different animal in itself. Now, it's part of what we're talking about with the triple net opportunity. Um, but um, but that's in a sense, as I said, that's more of a referral basis because we have opportunities for people to purchase, and we're just looking for more buyers. We have buyers, but you can never have enough. So that's an opportunity. If you want to make some money quickly, just refer us to someone that you think that fits that profile, that may have the resources to buy something like that, or already involved in cash flow opportunities. But as far as flipping that building that you're talking about, it, there's so much information that's needed. And I'll give you an example. You need to know the traffic count. You need to know the demographics within a mile, 3 miles, 5 miles. And what I mean by that, that's for the population, the income. You need to know ideally, you want to know what other national tenants are next door, across the street. You need to know the triple net comps per square foot in the area. All of those factors. It's just not simple to say, I got a building right here. What should I do? It's more complicated than that.
All right. How do you go about finding lease option deals?
Well, in reality, through just your normal marketing, if you're trying to wholesale houses, period, it's going to come through your normal marketing channels. Now, you can see properties that are for sale online as for sale by owner, or they may be for sale just a sign in the yard. Those are ways that you can possibly find those type of deals by calling them, even though they're trying to sell. You offer a lease option opportunity to them. You just have to be transparent on them with the entire process. If they're motivated enough, especially if those payments are kicking their butt. It's a strong possibility that they will be interested.
All right. Awesome. So handwritten signs aren't good as printed signs.
Printed signs are better. Both will work, but most people don't know how to do handwritten signs. So I used to strongly encourage it. And I actually have a video or two out there on my YouTube channel, which I don't take them down because some people, that may be their only option. But most people don't understand the importance of what type of markers to use, the type of signs to use. And as I can bang my head as much as I want, most people just don't get that. So I'm just going to always say use printed. And plus, printed signs are so much cheaper than what they used to be that it's just really just best just to use those. Now, if you're going to try to market a property to sell, handwritten signs will work fine, but it's still important understanding what type of markers to use and the stroke. You know, it needs to be visible. You always have to think, if I'm sitting in traffic, can I see this? If you use a little small thin tip pen, people can't see that. You have to just think, you know, they can't see it. They're trying to view it from a distance. They're not looking for it. You want to make sure that they see it, whether they want to see it or not. But if you don't use the right type of marker or the right color, corrugated plastic, it's just going to be difficult. Again, guys, we're only taking 3 of these on these 3 easy payments of $247. You get the full course with coaching. We split the first 5 deals. 3 easy payments of $247. We're only going to take 3 of these. I can only take on so much. It's been okay so far. So if you want to take advantage of that, that's 3 easy payments of $247. We split the first 5 deals.
All right. James says, "Hey, I got my bandit signs out, but no calls yet. What should I do next?"
Well, it depends on how many bandit signs you have out, how many of them are still up, where did you place them. All of that factors in. That's too generic of a question.
More detail, please, James. Please, James. If you had the course, we know you would know where they was supposed to go. All right. Besides bandit signs, what's your next preferred form of marketing?
It would be direct mail, but direct mail the way I do it. Most people just buy a list, send out postcards, or buy a list and send out yellow letters. I teach my students to do it and be more efficient in the way they do it, because a lot of these sellers, remember, you're not the only one buying that list. A lot of these sellers are receiving postcards on a daily basis on properties that they own. And so you have to make sure that you stand out from the rest. And I think I have a unique way of doing it right now. So to answer your question, direct mail would be second behind bandit signs. But
yes, I want to just say something real quick. Is like you got James here, and that's taking action, placing the bandit signs, and a lot of people take action trying to avoid paying for some. But a lot of times when you spend money in business, it accelerates it. And so you got to make the switch from thinking like a consumer to thinking like a business person. Like a CEO will spend money on training, whatever it is, he'll pay for marketing because it's going to accelerate the profit. So you're not knowing what a place the bandit size is, that means you haven't got a course. And I'm not bashing you, but you can save yourself a lot of headache and heartache, because what you will say is bandit signs don't work, but you didn't do it right. But if you get the course, you could do it right. It's the same thing with the direct mail pieces. You may go out, buy a list, start sending direct mail, but you don't know what to say in the letter. So you're trying to save a little money. It's really hurting you because the only unrenewable source we have is time. You can't get time back. So you got to spend the money to learn, whether it's Flippinar course, which I think is one of the best money that Down to Earth got, or somebody else course. You got to learn how to do this stuff.
That's what's up. Next question.
How do we establish a connection with a title company?
You really don't even worry about that. That'll come through consequence when you have a buyer in place. Because you call the title company, you don't know who you got on the phone. You ask them about wholesaling, it may be a reception. She's never even heard of it. So you don't even worry. I teach my students, don't even worry about that part of it. If you got a seller in place, you have a buyer in place, you can get your deal closed, period. And normally you're just going to piggyback off of the relationships that a buyer's already have, because most of the time, not all the time, that you're going to have a seasoned buyer. He's already going to have those relationships, and that's easy to do once you have a seller and buyer in place. They want to satisfy their client, which is the cash buyer, because he's always doing deals with them. So they're not going to reject it in most cases. So don't even worry about that. Don't worry about a title comp. That's the easy part.
Okay, awesome. Can I get the information for the commercial property from the broker, the demographics?
Yeah, that's possible. A lot of times it's on the flyer that's the property that's listed on the property. Correct.
All right. What is your online and find for sell by owners, but there's no contact information to reach out to the owner? Where do you go once you have only the address?
Wait a minute. They're advertising this for sale by owner?
Yeah, I guess if they're online for sale by owner, say Craigslist, and he said he just got the address or something, where does he go to find more information about the owner? I guess get into contact with him.
Well, if they're advertising the property online, I'm assuming if they're trying to sell it, most people are going to have if I'm understanding you correctly, most people are going to have a contact number, right? Now, if you're trying to find out information about the property, in most states, not all, that's public record, because the tax bill has to go somewhere, and you can just go to the county website, and some of them are not user friendly. Let me say that, and you can get information on the property. But if I'm understanding your question correctly, but if they're advertising the property for sale, normally they have their contact information. Normally.
Okay, awesome. All right. All right. Jack asks, does the one-page contract work in every state, and does it have to be notarized?
No, it doesn't have to be notarized. Guys, you can literally write a contract up on the hood of a car or someone's kitchen table. If the terms are agreeable between you and that other person, or the seller, or buyer, whatever, it's a contract. So to answer your question, yeah, I'm not an attorney by no means, but it doesn't have to be complex like the 10, 11, 12-page contract that realtors pop out. That's more to cover their butt than anything. So to answer your question, it works in every state.
Yeah, and then most things people just do is make stuff more detailed to make it more complicated, to scare you away. That's a lot of that is just for deference. Is to deter you from doing it. Would business cards be good to use?
I haven't bought business cards in years. Now, I'm not going to tell you not to do it, but with cell phones, it's just so easy for you to exchange information with people compared to years ago. Because a lot of times, just think about it. Years ago, someone gave you a business card because either they didn't want you to write the number down, because the only place they could call you from is either at their home or from the place of work. Whereas now, who do you even know anyone that doesn't have a cell phone? If my mama has one, everybody has one.
Hey man, the funniest thing when you talk about cell phones, I was riding around downtown Sacramento the other day, and I'm just looking at these homeless people, and they all got cell phones and got headphones in. I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking like, how are they affording a monthly payment for that?
Obama phone, baby.
Yeah, everybody got one though. But all right, so the next one is direct mail, preferred target, i.e., inheritance, probate, etc.
Say that again.
Uh, it's asking direct mail, preferred target, i.e., inheritance, probate, or etc. Like, I guess, what do you target? Do you target people that just inherited stuff that's in probate? How do you send out direct mail? It's actually more detail about the direct mail.
I don't target those specifically, but what happens is that when you buy an absentee list, it's going to automatically include all of that. Inherited properties, which you can be more specific if you want to. You can buy those type of lists, I'm sure. But an absentee list, because you're targeting a zip code or a particular price range or a combination of both, the size of a house, but it's going to automatically include all of those types of potential owners because those are absentee owners. Oh man, those are absentee owners, and so it includes inherited properties, landlords, people that have relocated. It's going to include all of those in just an absentee list.
Okay, awesome. All right. Next is, thanks for the info. Yes, I did get my signs out. Okay, James said, yes, I do got my signs out, as Mr. Flipman says. I wanted to know, what do I do instead of waiting to get calls? Understand it takes time.
Well, but he didn't answer the question. How many does he have out?
Yeah, I don't know. So answer the question, James. And then make it's like a doctor. You got to give more information so he can prescribe you some new medicine. All right. So Cortez was asking this about the calls. Craigslist and Zillow don't have the name or contact except through the realtor. So he's trying to go around the realtor to get a listing.
No, you don't want to do that. If a realtor has a property listed, you don't want to try to go around them. I don't recommend that at all.
Yeah, because it's legally tied up in that contract.
Yeah, all what will happen is that you'll contact them and the realtor end up contacting you, which will be fine. I'm just telling you, in most cases, I just want to encourage it. Now, I have had sellers to reach out to me that have properties listed because they say, hey, their realtor's not doing anything, but you have to explain to them that, hey, you do know either one or two things. If we do a deal, you still got to pay your realtor, or you're gonna have to cancel your realtor's contract. So you have to put that back on them.
Okay, awesome. All right. You got Joseph. He in Birmingham. Absentee. Camellia asking on the absentee, what's the percentages LTV? You gotta get the course, Camellia.
What he said? All right. What he say?
Asking what on the direct mail. So you're saying absentee, and then she's asking what percentage LTV.
What you mean as far as what's a deal and what's not a deal? I'm assuming that
Targeting for the direct mail. Yeah.
I don't include that in the search criteria, especially in Jefferson County. You said her name is Camilla. What was her name?
Camellia.
Camellia. I don't include that in the search criteria in Jefferson County because Jefferson County's information is not that good. So I do a broader approach, and plus I do the way I teach my students. You buy a list. You don't just mail out to the entire list. You actually do your research, and you do what I could call equity mining on each property. and it's just more efficient. It's a little bit more time consuming, but it costs you less overall. But and it's more efficient because I don't want to send a piece of mail to someone that there doesn't appear to be some equity there. And the only way you're going to do that, you have to research each individual property. So it's almost like you're driving for dollars online.
Okay, awesome. All right, is there a way to do a property without probate to save it before it goes to foreclosure?
Now, if they're in the probate process, you have to let that run its course. And if they're in foreclosure, depending on how long the probate process is taking, and each state is going to be different on that. It's just a timing thing. I really can't, without knowing more information about a deal like that, I couldn't really tell you because if it's in foreclosure, meaning that it's in pre-foreclosure. Let me say that if it's being foreclosed on, then the bank already owns it. That's a whole nother ball game. There's no probate there because that takes precedence over. But if it's in pre-foreclosure, meaning they're just behind in payments, then it just depends on the situation, what they owe, what the bank is willing to do as for the potential short sale, if any. And then obviously, if
he said no probate. He said no probate yet.
Well, is the person still living that owns it, or they died and the family is trying to gain ownership through the probate? So go ahead to the next question. We'll let them respond to that.
Details as possible.
Yeah, remember, 3 people. 3 easy payments are $247. We split the first 5 deals. Go to theflipman.com. theflipman.com.
All right. The next question is, Jason asks, should I go after every house I see that says for sale?
Well, if it appears to be for sale by owner, if you're talking offline, properties that have a real estate sign in the yard, a real estate agent sign in the yard, then that's a listed property. You can do those, but you need to. It takes a little bit more additional skills to deal with realtors and understanding their mindset. Because trust me, they have their interest at heart, before anyone's. They're trying to make money just like you are.
Awesome. All right. Shelton asks, do you need to create a deal that would cover the existing mortgage on the home? Is that the basic criteria for a deal?
Say that again.
Do you need to create a deal that would cover the existing mortgage on the home? Is that the basic criteria for a deal?
Well, yeah. In most cases, you're going to have to at least do that. It's going to, as I explained in that earlier, the price that you need needs to at least cover the amount of the loan balance that's there, because most people are not going to come to the closing table with money to satisfy the deal. So to answer your question, if they owe $50,000, your contract needs to be at least $50,000 to cover what's owed. Some people will take what's owed on a property. Now, I've had that to happen. That doesn't happen that often either. But your contract price that you need is at least going to have to cover the mortgage because it comes out of the seller's proceeds.
Okay, cool. All right, Romeo asked about the commercial property again. Once I get the information on the commercial property, can I contact you to partner up? If so, how long would the deal take? Example time.
First question is, when I initially started doing that, offering that, it sounded like a great idea just to partner up with people. And not saying this would be you, sir, but I found myself still having to train people. And sometimes just life doesn't prevent you to pursue it anymore. And so if you decide to walk away and I spend all this time working on things with you, I'm not compensated, and that's not going to happen. So to answer your question, I partner, but you have to be a student for me to partner because we can evaluate. Darren and I evaluate tons of properties on every day that don't turn out to be anything. So the worst thing that I would hate to do for me is to look at this property that you send and there's nothing there. It's and then if you already knew what to do and you brought me an opportunity, I would be a fool to turn it down. But I know I'll have to end up training you, and if something happens, you can't do it anymore beyond your control. Sometimes it's beyond your control. I'm not compensated, and again, our time is worth something. I don't know what it's worth, but it's worth something. So to answer your question, you have to be a student for me to partner up with your stuff. I teach you to do stuff by yourself. That's the goal where you don't need me. It's just that so happens with the commercial, I'll probably be able to provide a tenant for you or provide a buyer for you, if you were a student. But you have to be a student on that, especially on that commercial.
All right, someone asked, I sent two yellow letters to a homeowner. It's been a month and I haven't heard anything. Should I continue to wait or let this one go? I got some sales statistics I just wrote down today. I'll let you answer, and then if you want, I can read the statistics.
All right, so that was a question?
Yeah, they asked. No, I was telling you I have some sales statistics. The question is, I sent two yellow letters to an owner. It's been a month, and I haven't heard anything. Should I continue to wait or let this one go?
No, just follow back up with them. Maybe 2 months from now. Don't spend a lot of time. I hope you're mailing more letters than that than just to that particular owner. You don't spend that much time. Just put it in your follow up database and just follow up in a couple of months. People's situations change. Today they may not want to sell, but 2 months from now, hey, now I need a surgery, and I don't have all the money to do it. I have this piece of real estate. Let me call this guy, see what he's talking about. So to answer your question, just follow up a couple of months from now.
Yeah, and then I'll read the statistics so everyone can hear them. It's just simple sales. Everything's pretty much the same. It's sales. Like sending letters is prospecting. That's the same thing as picking up the phone. It's all the same. So the statistics is 2% of sales are made on the first contact. 3% of sales are made on the second contact. 5% of sales are made on the third contact. 10% of sales are made on the fourth contact. 80% of sales are made on the fifth to 12th contact. But this is the thing: 48% of people never follow up with a prospect at all. 25% of people make the second contact then stop. 12% of people only make 3 contacts and stop. Only 10% of people make more than 3 contacts. So it's basically 10% of the people going to get 90% of the business. And which one are you? Are you going to follow up or are you not? Or are you going to quit? Like most people just give up. Is anything worth having, man, you just got to keep going. It's tenacity. That's what it's all about. It's the same thing like Flippinar said, me, I'm working on commercial stuff, and you would think these brokers, they're going to make a lot of money off these deals, and they don't even call me back. They don't email me back. I have to constantly call them, constantly keep emailing them to even deals we're working on to get them to follow up. They always say, hey, thanks, man, I'm glad you followed up. I'm like, dang, you act like you sold this deal. They don't even have any other offers. So you have to constantly stay on it. People eventually come around to it.
Hey guys, don't forget about this referral fee. If you know someone that wants to cash flow where the big boys play, it's not that much more difficult than if they were going to buy a multifamily unit building. So triple net cash flow opportunities, just contact us. We'll be happy to hook them up. If they do the deal, you get paid. There's no limit. They can use a 401k, IRA, or credit, cash, whatever they have. So just wanted to mention that again.
Okay, awesome. Later. Good answer, James. I used to do both myself. Hey, Sean. Gonna see. How do I locate? Oh, I had one. Someone asked, what was the phone system that you use?
The phone system.
Yeah, what phone service do you use?
Oh, I just have my cell phone, man. You know, these smartphones are basically well, they're computers. You know, there's so many apps. You know, you have internet access pretty much anywhere. You know, my phone in my office for the most part. You know, so um, now I'm not the most. I'm let me just how would I put this? I'm not the most. People will look at the way I keep stuff and probably consider it chaos. As far as how I organize, so I'm not the most organized person. I don't know if I'm the best person to ask on that. I know the way I keep, like all of my information, I just make notes in my cell phone. You know what I'm saying? So, and I know how to go back to it because I remember how I put it in. I could do a search in my notes on my iPhone. And so, I just keep a lot of stuff in there. If I lose that, I may be done. May have to stick a fork in the flip, man. But it's in the cloud, so as long as I keep paying that, I guess Apple will let me have it.
Yeah. I have a phone system. I use Ring Central, but for this, you probably want to use something like Better Voice, where you can get more numbers and then route them to different places. Um, that's and Better Voice is not as much as Ring Central, so but you can get a bunch of different numbers, extensions, and all of that different stuff to like for marketing purposes. Like when you place one number on this sign on this side of town, place this number on the car, it's all kind of different stuff. So that's something you can use as well. Uh, how do you locate owners of boarded up properties that are distressed?
This is a common question. Probably answer this every week, but you have to. Number one, if you can determine the address, which is normally not that difficult, um, the tax bill has to go somewhere. Now, some states that information is not public, but most states it is. So just the county website will tell you who owns the property, and they'll have their mailing address there. So you pop a letter in the mail, let them know that you're interested in buying it. But that's the way you find out who owns it.
All right. Hey Todd, what should you do when the only ones calling abandoned signs so far are new wholesalers wanting you to buy their deals?
Um, Again, I wouldn't get discouraged that way. You may have to tweak a little bit. You may have to put out a few more signs. But if you're getting calls, that means the signs are staying up. So eventually you're going to start to get calls from sellers. So I wouldn't get discouraged with that. Just if you're getting calls, your signs up. So even if the sellers drip in, I'd rather have for it to be drip. I could probably fill up a cup at some point, which means a deal. So I wouldn't get discouraged. That's just put out more.
Okay, awesome. Uh, what word? Yes. Okay. How do you evaluate ARV? Do you use a specific guide?
I have a video on YouTube. It's called Calculate ARV in 60 Seconds. Just do a search there. That video there goes into really good detail on my process and how I want my students to. That allows me to help them if they collect that information. But you can go to YouTube and do a search for calculating ARV in 60 seconds.
Okay, awesome. So the guy that was sending mail said, "Yes, I'm mailing it out daily, but I'm new. That was the first letter sent." Okay, thank you. How many letters are you mailing out daily? How? Uh, I'm a dual resident of North Langford and Orlando. Okay. Uh, awesome. Great job, Daniel. What's the time to follow up on the second letter, the third letter, and so forth? Never mind. I have to buy the course, right? LOL. Or win the course today. LOL.
You answered your own question, man.
Yeah, those are the best ones.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Any more questions, guys, before we give the course away? Just in case y'all are waiting to see if you win the course. If you win the course and you already purchased the course, I'm pretty sure Flipman's a nice guy. He would refund the money if you won it and you already purchased it. So you need to go to Flipman, theflipman.com, and then Flipman, whenever you're ready, there's no more questions coming in. We can give away the course. Are you going to do 1-on-1?
Yeah, do 1-on-1. Yeah, that's
Okay.
theflipman.com. Theflipman.com.
Okay, awesome. So let's do the on the phone caller first. I have
Just give the last 8 of the number instead of their full number.
okay.
And then you
Last
could
8 of the
me,
number.
but matter of fact, you could text me the full number, but just get like the last 8 instead of full 10 numbers.
Okay, last 4 of the number is 5990. 5990.
Okay, go ahead and text me the number. Pause for a minute, people. Let him text me the number. So I have it here. The full number.
All right, I just sent it to you.
All
All
right.
right.
All right.
So you got to text Flipman at what's
Yeah, text me at if that's the last 4 of your number, text me at 205-492-3425. That's 205-492-3425.
all right, awesome. All right, so let's go to the next one. The people that are live on here, live. Walter Braggs. Walter Braggs.
Walter who?
Braggs. Braggs. You're gonna need to. You want him to text you or email you?
Have him to text me 205. Huh?
I'm sending you his name so you'll have it.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so Walter Braggs. You want to text him? What's the number, Flipman?
205-492-34. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know the wrong number. 205-492-3425.
All right, awesome. Like somebody already put it in for you. All right, awesome. So, yeah, so congratulations to everyone. Cortez, man, you need to get the course, man. You need to get the course. You're a week behind now. You missed last week. You're about to miss again. You can already have this thing turning. And there's a couple other people I see on here every week. Hey, we appreciate y'all for coming out, all asking all the questions, being part of the Flip Man's extended family here and his flipping family, and really do appreciate it. So that's awesome. So you got anything else, Flipman? Somebody said it was my birthday, the day you dropped the mic on your job. Well, Kathy, you need to be
that's what's happening May 1st.
You need to be dropping the mic on your birthday, so then it could be an anniversary. It could be a Flipman anniversary. It could be a flipiversary.
All right, guys, but I appreciate Darren helping us out this week. We'll be back next week, so go ahead and get registered. If you're not already, invite friends and family. Remember, you can get the course and coaching. Only going to take 3 people. theflipman.com. 3 easy payments of $247. We split the first 5 deals 50-50. Again, you can pick up either $10,000. If you know people that want to get into guaranteed mailbox money. There's no management in the process. You have one tenant. Tenant pays the taxes. Tenant pays the insurance. They pay for maintenance. No evictions. Corporate guaranteed 10, 15-year leases from companies like Burger King, Walgreens, Starbucks, McDonald's, Target, which that's ridiculous, Dollar General, Family General, Family Dollar. It goes on and on. There's anybody you can think of, they do triple net leases. That's an opportunity for you just for a simple referral, someone you know that can possibly take on an opportunity like that or looking for an opportunity like that. Maybe your doctor, maybe an attorney that you know. So just refer us to, you know my number, 205-492-3425. Again, you can get the course at theflipman.com. 3 easy payments of $247. We'll see you all on the next Flippinar. Thanks, and I'll see you on the flip side. All right, Darren. Thanks, man.
All right.